Good day, everyone. Good day. Today is Friday, November 30th, 2018. Gonna give it just a few moments to wait until, some people get the notification to come on into the live chat. We'll see how that goes. And today we will be checking out and embracing the flow of energy that is hexagram number 24. TGIF, as they say. Thank the gods it is Friday. Okay, so I am searching for our hexagram number 24. I only have 64 cards to shuffle through. You know, that moment just when you think that you have everything set up. And then you realize, oh yeah, I forgot this one. And hopefully I didn't, there we go. Hexagram number 24. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started because I have a tea date this morning with a friend and then a client immediately after that I do not want to be rushed or missed. Welcome. Good day, David. Welcome. Let me know if the soundtrack is too loud. Got my cup of tea. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep centering breath to welcome us into this sacred space. Okay. Peace and welcome. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And as usual, I'm bringing out the Goddess Oracle to see which aspect of the Divine Feminine wants to speak to us today. Another aspect of ourselves. We live in a binary universe. Energy is binary. And for the lucky minority that is able to contain an expression of both the masculine and feminine together. All right. So I have that. Okay, so we're going to check it out together. Oh, Inanna. Inanna. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I got to get my spectacles on. One moment. Okay. So we are looking at Inanna, embracing the shadow. Embracing the shadow. Okay, let's see. I always have to recite my alphabet H-I. Okay, I comes after H. One of these days I'm going to get it. I think it'll be on my deathbed. And then I'll say, oh yeah, I know all of the alphabet without having to recite them. Okay, so we have Inanna embracing the shadow. I went there on my own free will. I went there in my finest gown, with my rarest jewels and my queen of heaven crown. In the underworld, at each of the 7 gates, I was stripped 7 times of all that I thought I was, till I stood bare in who I really am. Then I saw her. She was huge and dark and smelly and hairy, with a lion's head and lion's claws, devouring everything before her. Ereshkigal, my sister. She was all that I am not, all that I have hidden, all that I have buried. She is what I have denied. Ereshkigal, my sister. Ereshkigal, my shadow. Ereshkigal, myself. That's a beautiful card. I'm going to have to figure out how to get this software. There we go. There we go. I got it in. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful thing. You know, there's a lot in the community, in the spirituality community, that wants to just, everything is love and light. Love and light. Yes, everything is love, but not everything is light. And being willing to truly face all of who we are, whether you want to call it integrating or embracing. I know there was one woman had mentioned she didn't like the word integrate because it seemed as though something is not a part of you. Actually, the shadow is very much who you are, as well as the light side. And integrating is just another word of releasing the need to compartmentalize. Mythology. The Sumerian queen of heaven, Inanna, tricked her father Enki, god of wisdom, into giving her the 100 objects of culture, which she then gave to humanity. Desiring to pay a visit to her sister Ereshkigal, she journeyed to the underworld. There she was stripped and killed and left to hang on a hook for 3 days and 3 nights. That's a familiar motif. Inanna was allowed to leave the underworld only if she found a substitute. She chose her son lover, the shepherd Damuzi, who, in her absence, had usurped her place on the throne of heaven. Meaning of the card. Inanna is here to tell you that a journey to the underworld is the way to wholeness for you now. It is time to dance with your shadow, reclaim what you've denied, embrace your own dark sister self. You need all those aspects of yourself that your parents, caregivers, teachers, societies have deemed unacceptable in order to achieve wholeness in your life. Whether it be your talent, your beauty, your inner vampire, your anger, your madness, you're required to surrender to the journey and embrace your dark side. If you are already in the underworld, the appearance of Inanna may signal that the time for your return is at hand. Journeys to the underworld to embrace your dark side are a law unto themselves. They take as much time as they need to take. You can't just fit them into your schedule. When it is time for you to journey, you will, and you will not be done until you return. Take comfort in the fact that all journeys to the underworld do end, and that you will indeed return, much different from who you thought you were when you went. being willing to embrace all of who you are, the light, the dark, the pretty, the ugly, the good, the bad. It's a beautiful thing. And what's even especially beautiful, like the icing on the cake, is being able to truly be yourself around those that you hold dear and not feeling that you either have to walk on eggshells or you have to pretend to be prim and proper, that you can just be you. And it's a beautiful thing. So today we are going to look at hexagram number 24. So here's hexagram number 24. Without further ado, we're looking at recharge, repose, which is how Benabel Wynn translates that hexagram, that gua. And we're looking at thunder. We're looking at earth over thunder. And here is the, unfortunately, I can't keep my glasses on all the time because I only need them for reading. So here is number 24 from the Tao Oracle and envisioned by Ma Padma Devi. 24, turning point, keywords return, the start of a new cycle, right timing, regeneration, inevitability, steady improvements. And I can definitely see how this can correspond with the Inanna card, because once you have truly embraced all of who you are, you know, the shadow, the light, the dark, the heavy, all of it, it's sort of like a recharge, a repose, a resetting. It is a turning point in your life. Welcome, John Didi. Welcome. It is like a turning point, a new beginning, because you're completely integrated, you've completely accepted who you are, and you're ready to face the world and, as they say, live your best life. And you can only live your best life when you're accepting of every bit of who you are. So we're going to look at hexagram number 24. And of course, I do have our 64 Faces of Awakening, and we will get to that. So hexagram number 24. And you know what? Oh no. And here I thought, oh, there we go. I thought I had everything set up this morning, and we don't want to miss out on Brian Brown Walker. Okay, so we're going to look at, let's see, we have Earth over Thunder, the Bagua Earth. And just for a refresher, so Earth is the triple, it's like the triple goddess. It's the triple divine feminine. 3 lines of feminine energy. It's receiving direction, yielding, receptivity, submission to heaven, nurturing force, divine yin, receptive energy, that which yields, material world. The direction is the southwest. The season, cardinal spring and summer solstice. Life aspect, love and relationships, motherhood. Stomach, digestion, spleen, pancreas. The chakra, again, is the center seed, the beginning of creation. Everything begins with coming from the inside out. The animal is the bull, and the archetype is the dreamer and the visionary. And yes, as David mentioned, this is the I Ching, which is over 3,000, whoops, which is over 3,000 years of oracle from the ancient Chinese shamans. And we are reading from the particular translation is Benabel Wen translation of the I Ching. And we are checking out hexagram number 24. Let me see if I can just, where is it? These are all of the hexagrams. There's 64 combinations. And we are at 24, recharge, repose. And so Benabel Wen has it translated as a state of recovery. It is a period of repose, which is kind of similar to Inanna going into the underworld. You are at a turning point. The light is just beginning to emanate out of the darkness. The light does not return by force. It comes as part of a natural cycle. The first offspring will begin the push out of the mother's womb. The queen would abstain from excursions around the provinces. It is a time for preservation. Do not waste your energy right now. Preserve, recharge, and rest. Auspicious for travel and journeys after the winter ends and when the light returns after the darkness. Let me adjust this camera. We are entering a space of summer, not summer, winter solstice will be here before we know it. We'll be here before we know it. Welcome, Pavel. And we're going to look at Dr. Professor Hong, physicist from MIT, who has since passed, but he has left a wonderful legacy. One of them is his very succinct and literal translation of the I Ching. So we're looking at return. Returning from a short trip, no big troubles, all's well. Returning joyfully, all's well. Returning with a frown, danger, no harm. Returning alone in mid-journey. Returning angrily, no regrets. Returning after losing one's way, misfortune, trouble is in store. Taking arms would lead to great defeat and disaster for the king. For 10 years, the conquest will not succeed. So we are very thankful for Dr. Huang's literal translation of the I Ching to remind us of the literal translation of the I Ching. And we're thankful for all of the 3-inch thick translations that have come before and after to help us modern people to get a grasp and understanding of the I Ching. And we're looking at Brian Brown Walker's wonderful inspiration. So hexagram number 24 is Fu, return. A time of darkness comes to a close. And again, as Inanna did earlier, she went into the underworld to face herself, to face all of that which she has denied, to reintegrate, to let go of the need to compartmentalize and to look beautiful and perfect. She faced the hairy, the smelly, the darkness that is her soul, and it is all beautiful. But now it's time to leave the underworld and come back to life. A time of darkness comes to a close. Receiving this hexagram is a sign that you have reached a turning point. This moment is akin to the winter solstice. The greatest adversity is past, and the light is beginning to return. Nonetheless, one cannot force the completion of the change, and it is wise to rest. Act only when you can move gently and innocently, and all will be well. Fu also comes as a reminder, and Fu again is the the Chinese name for this hexagram, recharge or repose. Fu has also come as a reminder to return to the light in yourself. Growth is only possible when we relinquish the expressions of the ego, pride, impatience, anger, and desire. And I would also add to that, growth is only possible not merely in relinquishing, but acknowledging and accepting and embracing that part of ourselves. To act forcefully or ambitiously now will only generate misfortune. Let things develop naturally in their own way. Simply observe and accept changes as you observe and accept the rising of the sun. Allow yourself to rest and gather strength for a time of growth ahead. By holding to modesty, gentleness, and correct conduct, you prepare the ground for a fruitful blossoming when the light fully returns. And so that is hexagram number 24. And as we all know today, welcome Critical Break. Greetings to all. We have John Doty, David Lux, Angels here to observe the end, and Critical Break, and Pavel, last but not least. And what I was about to say was, so today's November 30th, right? And we're about to embark upon December. And so we're heading towards that, it's getting darker and darker and darker. And then it's going to be winter solstice. And I believe, isn't winter solstice, it's like the darkest part of the year. And then from there, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. So we can look at it as taking this next, because I think winter solstice is what, usually like between the 20th and the 22nd of December, somewhere around there. So we can take the next 21 days, 21, 22 days. They say it usually takes a good 3 weeks, 21 days to affect a new habit, a good habit, releasing the old. So maybe something that we can do is take the next 21, 22 days of really going in depth within ourselves and really excavating our soul, a way of saying it, excavating who we are, digging deep, loving, chipping away and loving each piece that we come across, whether it's the hypocrite within us, the anger within us, the jerk that resides in us. Embrace all of it, love all of it, you know, the naughty child that is within us, as well as the good child, as well as all of the good. We're always trying to embrace the good. But how about we go into the underworld and really retrieve those parts of us that we've denied, and show those parts of ourselves love and mercy and compassion, so that when we get to that darkest part and then we start coming up to the light, I think that could be a beautiful thing. David mentions that the solstice will be on the 21st. And also, Hanukkah starts on the night of December 2nd. I have one of my menorahs. I bought this menorah last year. You call it a Hanukkah, as it's a 8-branch menorah. The 9th one is the Shamash, the helper. So I bought this one last year because I could not find the many other ones around, and got my electric one. So we will have the electric menorah set up in the background as usual when it's time. Not the candle, because as I've learned the hard way, you have too many candles over here, something can get knocked down. And one time I had a candle here and it fell over and all the wax splashed up on the tapestry, but thankfully nothing burned. All right, so we're going to look at Dr. Rosie Arison's beautiful cards, 64 Faces of Awakening, which is, thank you, Critical Break, which is sort of a modern rendition of the 64 hexagrams. It goes with the Jin keys. Look up Jin keys, Jen, and then the next word keys. And so I believe they like go hand in hand. So we're going to look at number 24. He looks like someone's uncle or someone's grandpa. You know, everyone wants to be recognized, validated, appreciated. It is human nature. You know, in our modern age, especially with cell phones, you ever walk around on the street and, you know, people are either looking down at the ground or looking at their cell phones. It's very hard to meet someone that's willing to look at you in your eye. I'm one of those people that enjoys looking eye to eye in people when I'm speaking. I have a friend who always likes to wear sunglasses, and when we talk, it's like the conversation doesn't feel intimate or feel connected. And I always say to him, "Can you please take out those sunglasses so I can see your eyes?" You know, the eyes are the windows of the soul. So here's number 24, invention. Invention. And you can check out all the symbolism in his face. Oh, I see the DNA helix right in the middle of his forehead. The 24th gift is truly magical and contains the secret to genius. Genius is far more than lateral thinking. It is the ability to make quantum leaps. Gift, invention, the shadow, addiction, the city, silence. So we're going to share his wisdom story. Number 24 has a wisdom story. I was a sensitive boy with an insatiably curious mind. Doesn't he kind of look like Albert Einstein almost? With a deep love of logic and learning, my parents encouraged me to study everything from math to chemistry to astrophysics. My unusual gifts for predicting patterns and solving problems were discovered by my professors and eventually the world. By the time I was a young adult, many people counted on my mind to answer some of the most difficult questions about our shared future. As the pressure amped up, there was less room for error, for feelings, for free time, or for present moment. Once I was working on a problem and my mind spun around and round, my body got tight, and I started to panic. I was frozen, not knowing how to cope with the awful sense of failure and emptiness I felt. I grabbed a glass of wine, which helped my mind and body to relax. And mysteriously, the breakthrough I'd been waiting for spontaneously appeared. After that, any time I couldn't solve a problem or felt anxious, I drank. The bigger the problem, the more I drank. It took a deep depression and several crises for me to recognize my addiction and accept the truth. There was no escape, nowhere to go. Nothing in the outside world could ever end the pain, anxiety, and emptiness I so desperately trying to avoid. I was so desperately trying to avoid. So I turned the intelligence of my mind inward. I used my mind to watch itself. And I got so good at recognizing its patterns and repetitive loops that just naturally they began to loosen their hold. Whenever I bumped up against my ignorance, suffering, or an unknown, instead of pushing against it or numbing out, I dropped in. Now I think in spirals, not loops. I welcome the unknown, rejoice in life's mysteries, and have come to cherish creative invention and innovation above solving problems. Although my knack for solving problems continues to expand, my most creative moments and breakthrough insights often happen when I am relaxing, dreaming, or doing nothing at all. I'm constantly surprised by how art, music, philosophy, mythology, and psychology relate to all that I do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share his gift to us. I'm here to tell you that addiction is not only about what you do, but how you think. And especially how you think during those moments in your life where you bump against the unknown, your own ignorance, a deafening silence, and an inner emptiness. There are whole worlds of possibility in the space between thoughts, sounds, even between your impulses and cravings. One of the most difficult yet most rewarding things you can do in life is to embrace those gaps in your awareness. Don't push your anxiety away. Don't fill in those holes as you make peace with emptiness and befriend uncertainty. Your talent for invention, creative thinking, and living will flourish. And questions for contemplation. How do you cope with moments of emptiness or anxiety? What role has addiction played in your life? Have you used substances, behaviors, or activities to numb yourself or feel a whole? So there you go. Be okay. Take those off so I can see. Be okay with traveling into the underworld. As I was reading that, a couple of things were coming into my mind. It's like we are human beings, not human doings. And, it's okay to sit back and breathe. It's okay to sit on the sofa and do nothing. It's okay to contemplate the lint in your belly button. You ever notice the people who we consider to be good dancers who have rhythm? It's not so much because they're following the beat of the music, but because they're embracing and recognizing that solid space in between the notes. And when you're able to connect with that I don't know if I can think of the right words, that empty space between the notes, that silent between the notes, that silent note that's there, but you can't hear it, but you can't feel it. That's where the rhythm comes in. Being willing to travel to the underworld and embrace the anxiety, to breathe through the anxiety. I think I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Remember that I mentioned that I had developed a stutter when I was 10, and I'm now 48. So it's been 38 years that I've stuttered. And I just had to learn to embrace it, to accept it. And once I was able to do that, it just really seemed to release its grip on me. Once I was willing to accept that I'm still a beautiful person on the inside, I'm still intelligent, even though I have this stutter. And it was through the embracing of that shadow self, that part of me that I felt that might have looked ignorant or unintelligent, any other words that you want to fill in the blank. And once I was able to embrace that and just accept it and breathe through it and go with it, it became a part of me and diminished its hold. And it's there still, and it's okay. And those moments when it pops up, I don't beat myself up. I've learned to embrace it. So this card, the hexagram, Anana, is encouraging all of us to not be afraid to embrace the shadow self, embrace that part of us that society has deemed unattractive or ugly or any negative word that you can think of. And I'll share with you another part of my shadow self. For years, I've always had a complex about my forehead, and I would never wear my hair back. I'd always, before I had dreadlocks when I was younger, when my hair was loose, I'd always wear bang. I always had hair over my forehead. And then one day, I just had to love myself, love my forehead, love all of me, and not be ashamed of it. And so you'll see me in some videos, I'll have my hair up. It took a while to get there. I think when I was about 30, I think I was like 32, and my dreadlocks were really long, and I even had thicker hair then. And one day I just realized I'm hiding behind my hair. I am hiding from the world and from myself behind my hair. And guess what I did? I shaved all my hair off. It freaked my son out. He's now almost 20, my musician son. He most of my kids were late speakers except for the one who's the physicist. He he had a little bit earlier grasp on language. But I remember my son, I think he was about 2 years old at the time, and he had never spoken in a complete sentence before. Why should he? He had two older brothers who did everything for him. And I remember I was standing in the bathroom, and he happened to come down the hall, and he said, no. I mean, he struggled, and he got out a sentence. He was like, no, Nani, because he called me Nani, because he couldn't say He said, no, Nani, why cut hair? No, cut hair. I had to close the door. And, after that, I had to wear hats around him because he couldn't bear me having like this much hair. But I share that to further encourage you and myself, because it's an ongoing process. It's not a once and done deal, to go into your underworld, go into yourself, go into the closet, the darkest, deepest crevices of who you are, and get in touch with those aspects that you felt were unlovable, and love them, and embrace them and accept them. And I think your life would be so much better. Critical Break says, I spent my entire life hiding so I wouldn't stand out. Yeah. Mira, welcome. Welcome, Mira. Mary. Okay, so what time is, okay, it's 9 o'clock. So I think this has been 45 minutes or so. Is my tea still warm? It's a little warm. It's just above lukewarm. Okie dokie. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that I have inspired you to check in with yourself, embrace yourself, love the dark side of yourself, and also check out Brian Brown Walker's. This is a nice, thin, pocket size. Well, okay, if you have big pockets, but it's thin. lots of inspiration, daily inspiration with this. Check it out. And yeah, computer froze for a second. All right, so I'm going to have to get going. So I have a friend waiting for me. We're going to go have another cup of tea and gossip like us ladies like to do. So thank all of you beautiful souls for being here and for sharing your energy with me. I'm Tamu Ngina, Priestess Heart. Let's take a moment to take a nice, deep, centering breath. Let's remember our ancestors and all those who have come before us. I wish you peace and great bliss. And until next time, keep going. Much love.